Hey guys, Too Legit City here. Today in the game of Oxygen Not Included, we're going to be going over an update. The update's actually not live yet, but it is open for public testing, and I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek of what's to come. Since it is open for public testing, you guys are welcome to actually go check it out and test it for yourself. And all you need to do is follow these steps. Please be warned though that if you guys do open a save file from the live version and you guys load it on the public testing branch, you guys will not be able to open that save file again. So it's recommended to create a new colony for this playthrough. Now, I do want to preface everything that it's still currently in the testing phase. We don't know when it's going to be released on the live version. We don't know if there's still any more additional changes, if the values are set in stone. So I can't guarantee the accuracy of the things we go over in the video. We will have another video though that does go over the details once it hits the live version. Of course, if you guys want to check out the patch notes yourself, I'll leave a link in the descriptions down below so you guys can check it out directly. First, I want to quickly gloss over the small changes. Critter queues now exist. They will line up to being groomed. New database entries, renaming of rockets now possible. Camera pad speed change. Minor change to hand sanitizers having bleachstone delivered after it's built. Some of the changes to modding, such as increased maximum elements and tag changes. And of course, various other changes as well, such as minor bug fixes. Now for the bigger additions, they added in a story trait mechanic that seems to be something like a side mission that isn't listed on a printing pod. These are toggleable during the menu where you're able to select which cluster you want to start at. So it's only at the very beginning before you actually generate your worlds. They added in two story traits, the Somnium Synthesizer and the Critter Fluxomatic. We also have a new building, the Spice Grinder, as well as the new room type, the kitchen. Lastly, we have two new Critter Morphs for the Plug Slug. It's going to be the Smog Slug and the Sponge Slug. They're both going to be variants of the Plug Slug and act very similarly to one another, but the difference being the type of resource they absorb. During the day, the Smog Slug will be looking for unbreathable gases, while the Sponge Slug will be looking for liquids. At night, both of the slugs are going to be looking for pipelines appropriate to the resource type and deposit the elements for storage. If you were to kill the critter, or if it were to die from old age while it's holding on to some elements inside, the elements will be released into the open environment. That being said, I don't think this is that big of a deal, especially when compared to the next change. The plug slugs are actually having refined metals added to their diet. Although this does not reflect in their diet yet, this was in the patch notes, and this is probably a bigger deal than the variants, as this makes the plug slugs and its family more viable. The next thing is the new building, the Spice Grinder. The Spice Grinder is going to be a post-processing building that takes cooked food and adds spices to it. Right now, spices add some additional attributes to the food on top of what it already does. So instead of having a food processed for more additional kcals, we're getting bonuses instead, which is pretty cool. Right now, there's 4 spices available, each with different item requirements in order to produce a spice. And right now, we have the Freshener Spice that slows down decomposition, Rocketeering Spice that gives you a pilot tree bonus, Brawny Spice that gives you a strength bonus, and the Machinist Spice that gives you a operating bonus. Of course, that's all it's going to be, and you're going to need to have this built inside of a kitchen for this to work. Alright, now for these story traits. First one we'll go over, it's going to be the Critter Fluxomatic. Once you find this building, you're going to have to show it 5 different families of critters. This means that you could only choose one critter from the family, and that will count as only one species. And once you show 5 different species, you're going to be able to complete the quest. To do this, you're going to have to drop off the critter inside the room, and then once the critter wanders into the base of the building, it's going to get trapped. Once it's inside of the building, it's going to be analyzed by the Critter Fluxomatic and then spit out on the other side. If it fulfills the species requirement, meaning that it doesn't already have a database entry for that, you will get 1 scan point. Once you get 5 scan points, you're going to complete the objective, and now you're allowed to put in a critter inside and morph it into a variation of itself on the other side. This means that you can put in a plug slug and get a smog slug or a sponge slug immediately on the other side. Now, this is pretty cool, as this is forcefully evolving the critter without actually having to wait for an egg to be laid or anything like that. And the downside with this is that there's a cooldown of 530 seconds after each use. Another upside though, this building does not require power or anything. I honestly think this is really cool. It's one of those things that I wish we had for plant mutations as well, but we'll have to see if that's going to be something down the line in the future. Now for the last thing and the last story trait, the Somnium Synthesizer. The building itself requires something called dream journals. That's going to be something your duplicants are able to produce once you get pajamas. There's going to be a dispenser next to the synthesizer itself that actually just dispenses pajamas, so you just grab them off the rack. Now, you do have to apply them like the Primo Garb clothing and manually assign the pajamas. Not only that, there is a bad penalty for athletics and stamina for it that's worse than Atmo suits, so you don't want to keep these on for the long term. Once they do wear it, the duplicants are able to sleep with them on. They'll start dreaming. You'll see a progress bar underneath the dupes, and this progress bar is going to be 300 seconds long. Now, you're not going to have your dupes sleeping for that long, although you can. The progress actually carries over from night to night, so it's a cumulative process. Once you do get your dream journal, you're going to need 25 of them. Deliver it to the synthesizer building, provide 500 grams of oxygen per second, and it will turn on and apply a buff called Maximum Aptitude. This buff gives you +5 to athletics, +5 to science, strength, machinery, and piloting, as well as a -25% stress modifier. It's about 60 seconds per journal is how long the buff lasts, and you could track the buff on the synthesizer building itself. The initial 1600 seconds after it ran out, we lost the buff, and I was not able to add any more journals to the building. However, after I save and reloaded the game, I was able to deliver more journals and start the buff over again. So I'm not sure what's actually intended. I'm going to assume that you could just keep adding more journals just to get the buff, because having it be a one-time process is kind of a letdown. But that's going to be the Somnium Synthesizer, and that's going to be all of the update changes. We didn't go too much in detail, and if you have any questions, guys, please leave a comment down below. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and of course, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, guys.